that's coming up. And tonight we have a local speaker, and I'm very excited to have him talk. He grew up in a house with a father who kept fish, and he finished college and moved on in life, and then started keeping fish. And then he went to the Pacific Coast Cichlid Association, and was like, wow, these cichlid things are pretty cool. And got quite involved there, and is now a life member, and he did the auction for us at the ACA convention. He's done the auction, he did the auction, I believe, for the ACA in '95. He's one of those people that helps out whenever you need a hand. He also had a business for many years in San Jose called Mainly Cichlids, and it was just a fantastic place to go. We would drive down on our way to the Pacific Coast Cichlid Association meetings and stop in there and hang out, and he just had all kinds of cool fish coming and going all the time. So lots and lots of experience, and he is now relocated to our area. So he is a local member for the Sacramento Aquarium Society, which I'm very happy about. So let's give a warm welcome to one of our own, Jim Ellenberger. And I think you're feeling about as well as the weather is out there.
Yeah.
A little under the weather, so we'll work with you. There you go.
Okay. No, I'm good. I'm good. So I sound really funny because I got a cold. Okay. I always sound funny according to Rich. So anyway, so we're going to talk about bloopers and blunders, or my qualifications for joining the Dead Fish Society. We'll see if this works. Okay, come on. Here we go. Okay, we're going to go talk about the presentation. It's all going to be written up here, so don't worry about it. You don't need to read it. It's more for me. I'm going to tell stories, and keep your comments to yourself, but not if you want. This is an interactive talk. If I say something and you don't agree, or you think it's something else is better, go ahead and speak up, except for Rich. We're going to discuss the formation of the Dead Fish Society, and we have a contest, by the way. We have a contest, so we'll talk about that in a bit. And we're going to talk about my bloopers and blunders. I'm going to hold a contest at the end. So there we go. What is the Dead Fish Society? Formed by these three guys, all Sacramento people. Kevin Plazak. You got Rod Finney and Mark James. They actually formed it driving down to the PCCA meetings, discussing an alternative club. Come on. I know, wake up. Okay, there we go. Here's Rod. Doing what he usually does. Okay. It's an alternative fish club. Come on. It's really an alternative club snail. For those of you who know what club snail is, it is the weirdest club you can belong to. He was the tallest person. Upon the death of the emperor, somebody else will be chosen over his tallest in his deathbed. And you must drink beer unless you don't drink. Have fun. And those were pretty much it. Made things less complicated. Okay? Qualifications, you have to admit to killing at least 1,000 fish. Okay? How many people in here think they're already members of the Dead Fish Society? Yeah, okay. Okay. This cannot include fish you kill on your job. You buy a proven breeding pair for $100 and lose one of them within a week. Okay, that's, yes, who does that, has done that one? Yeah, okay. You can buy a Dead Fish Society shirt. I have some. Or caps. You have to have big heads for the caps. I guess Brantley would qualify for that one. Okay, we're going to mention the contest. Okay, I'm going to start talking about some of my bloopers and blunders. And it's going to, number 99, and you're going to start thinking about things that you did that were dumb. And when you think about that, just keep it to yourself, because that's what we're going to do with the contest. We're going to have a contest to see who has the best story, and the audience is going to vote. Okay? Okay. As a very wise man once wrote, you know, for more mistakes than successes. Cyclic communique. I wrote that. Okay. Several different ways to kill a fish. Trying to help. You know, doing something stupid, neglect. Okay, trying to help. I did this. This was one of my first bonehead plays. I was reading in, I think it was Tropical Fish Hobbyist, that a reverse flow undergravel filter, if instead of pulling it down through and then up, if you push it down the lift tubes and up through the bottom, it traps all the stuff underneath, and your tank is a lot cleaner. So I spent about 3-4 hours jury-rigging something to make it work. Got it working. It was pretty dirty right at the beginning, but then it cleared up really nice, and I was really happy. Next day, I go in there, and all the fish are dead except for one stupid pink tilapia mozambicus. And all the fish were dead. They were all big mbuna. I was pretty upset. I learned a lesson from that, though. Aeration is key. Aeration is key. Okay, so that was one of my bonehead plays. Doing something stupid. Overfeeding. Overfeeding is probably the #1 killer of fish. I feed my fish once every 2 or 3 days. That way you don't build up a lot of food. The problem is when you build up a lot of food in your tank, it uses up all the oxygen in the tank, and the fish can't, they basically suffocate. So you really don't want to overfeed or feed too many times. Forget to plug the heater in. Okay, how many people have done that? How many people have had like a little kid pull it out and you didn't know about it? Yeah, okay. Not matching your water temperature. This is a biggie. If it's within a degree, plus or minus, you're usually okay. Certain fish have more tolerance and less tolerance. Like tropheus, I've always heard tropheus need to be dead on. I found that it doesn't work that way. You can put in, 2-3 degrees off and it's fine. But that's just something you want to always match, that temperature. Neglect, we're all guilty of this. Not doing water changes. Who skips on water changes? Yeah. I had 300 tanks in my shop. I skipped a lot of water changes. Okay, this I did. I had a 3 20-gallon tanks in my garage, and I had the middle one was full of red zebra fry. Must have been like 250 in there. And I was using an old style hang on the back heater. Well, the water level dropped so far that it was trying to heat the room, and I made bouillabaisse. It was pretty nasty. So That's something you gotta watch. This is what the hell happened. Okay, AKA no clue eye. You do a water change and your fish die. Okay? How many people have done a water change and their fish died? Right, okay. So I figured a couple of things out for it. One is, you're using, one thing that I found is there's too much dissolved gas in the water. If you do a big water change right out of the tap, maybe you set the temperature right, but there's a lot of dissolved water, dissolved air in the gas in the water. It forms nitrogen bubbles in the fish, and they bloat and die. Peacocks are really, really susceptible to this. Used a PVC garden hose. Okay? I learned the hard way. I had a PVC garden hose. Well, it was actually a drinking water hose where they're coated with Teflon on the inside. But it was an old hose, so all the Teflon had cracked, and I filled up a tank in my fish room that was, had red rainbow trophies, wild, and I did a water change and killed them all. I was pretty bummed about that. But you never want to use a PVC pipe, no, PVC garden hose. That's the green hose. Use a rubber hose. A rubber hose, you can run warm water through it, and it doesn't, you don't get any chlorine in your water. Okay, I always use that type of hose. Fish drop dead. How many people have had fish drop dead? Yeah, and you don't know why, right? You have no clue. Peacocks. Like I mentioned, peacocks with the water change, but I also had some that I got from, I got some wild stock in from Steve Lundblad, and I put them in 3 different tanks to have three different breeding groups. Maybe 3 days later, they all died at the same time. I don't know what happened. Steve doesn't know what happened. It's just something that happens. Discus. This is more of a, not a bad thing, but a good thing. I got a shipment in of wild discus. They were, like 6 inches across. Got them from ruminants. Got 12 of them. 7 of the bags were ripped open. Okay, and they kind of squeezed down on the fish. There was just a little bit of water. It was 66 degrees. Discus, right? Well, I decided I had a tank for them ready to go. It was set at, 78 degrees. And I just dumped them in. Thinking, they're probably dead anyway, so let's just try it. Every one of them survived. Every one of them survived. In fact, they were, 20 minutes later, they were all at the front going, "Feed me, Seymour." They all were hungry. I couldn't believe it. But discus, there's also, I've had discus that just, I've gotten discus from a certain Kevin Plazak. And they just turned black and died when I got them in. So, I don't know what happened. Can a fish have a heart attack, Ron? Yeah. Oh yeah? Okay. I mean, sometimes you see the fish just kind of flipping and flopping and then it's dead. Common problems, ones that I hear all the time. So I know you're going to find some of these. Python, drain, and kill. Okay? How many people use a python? Okay. Python, the python is actually, the hose is food grade, so you don't have any problem with it. It's a good hose to use. I give it that. The problem is, to drain the water, you have to use a lot of water. That's kind of in California, that's kind of a dumb thing to do. And then when you fill the tank, when you flip that little switch and fill the tank, now you're putting untreated water into your tank. And you gotta put the conditioner in first. That's the one thing you gotta do. Come on. Amquil Plus. Okay, everybody uses Amquil. Okay, the problem with Amquil is that it uses the oxygen in the water to break up the ammonia and the chlorine. And if you don't have good aeration, you'll kill your fish. You'll suffocate your fish. I hear this all the time. People come in and say, yeah, I used Amquil Plus and it killed all my fish. And I said, well.
How about Prime? That's what I use.
Prime, I never used it.
Do the same thing as whatever.
Yeah, it's supposed to. So you gotta watch that one. A lot of things will, see, most people don't have enough aeration. Aeration is a big key. I mean, I put in power heads on all my big tanks, just to push water across the surface. You know, you see all the fish up there gasping for air. Well, that's because you don't have enough aeration in your tank. Okay, contest. In the words of the immortal Gallagher, I didn't come here to discuss problems, I came here to sell you something. What qualifies you to be a member of the Dead Fish Society? We're going to pick six contestants. We're going to call them wannabes. Okay? And you're going to tell me your stories. You're going to come up here and use the microphone, or you don't have to use the microphone because I got my germs all over it. And we're going to, the winner is picked by the audience, but Rod has to also bless it. Winner gets a shirt, and everybody else can buy one. I've got a whole bunch in the car. So, let's start out. Who wants to be first? Okay, Doug, come on up.
I've been keeping fish for over 30 years, but the story that really qualifies me for this area here is at one of the shows we were doing over at Cal Expo. I had a tank set up with my show fish. We had it all ready. The next morning they come in, no fish alive at all. It turns out the heater got turned up too high. They were my prize fish, and they were judged before that as winners. So all of them, by the time they were just had to put a little cloth over the top. They were Burchardii. So was one calling me Burchardii on that. But over the years, I've kept so many different types of fish, almost a different 100 species, and with that many, you tend to lose a few now and then, sometimes a full tank. Well, hopefully that's enough for a good qualification.
Okay. That reminds me, I'll get you. There's one other thing. I remember going to Chicago one year, and I took a nice big male peacock, a nice beautiful male peacock, and he died in the bag. The bag got water out, and I was upset, so I threw him down the toilet. We had to call the plumber. Okay, come on up.
I'm relatively new at this. I've never been here before, so I'm going to try this out. My story, I had started raising fish as about 13 years old. Now mentally I'm only 8, which is okay. But what ended up happening was I was given a fish by a friend of mine. She's, oh, you're raising fish. Here, I got one that, you know, you can have. Oh, okay. I'll stick it in my tank. I had a bunch of guppies at that time. I was actually breeding them. And what ended up happening is the new fish I thought was really pretty, but I was really young and really stupid. So I stick them in my tank, and one by one, all of my guppies start vanishing. And I'm looking around the tank, I'm looking around outside the tank, I'm like, did they jump out? What the heck's going on? Finally, I got up at 2 a.m. I turned on the tank light for whatever reason, and that new fish was eating my last guppy. It turns out that new fish was a baby smallmouth bass. I then went online, I found out exactly what it was, and went, oops, not doing that again.
That's pretty good.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? Gary, you've killed snow.
No. I'm never going to admit it.
I'll get you next. No, he's going to come next.
We're talking about what we did wrong, right?
There you go. I know you know.
All right. Since you guys got discus up there, I'll give you a little discus story. I had 30 discus. They're not the regular one. They're the albino green spotted red, I believe. And they grew. I grew them from 3 inches to about a good 4.5 inches. And then one day I went to the local fish stores, which I shall not name, and I saw this beautiful red discus. But something doesn't look right on it, and on the anal has a little red string sticking out. I thought it looks a little odd, but I didn't know much back then. So I brought it home. Should have quarantined, but I didn't quarantine because obviously the fish was so beautiful. Guess what? Calaminus worm. All 30 of my discus died off. It's been over a year and a half since I shut off that tank, and I haven't touched discus for that much yet. So quarantine, people, quarantine.
See, I'm not the only one that does dumb things.
Yeah, I've been doing fish for the last 30 or 40, 40 plus years. I had a 40-gallon community tank. It had nice little crabs, it had tetras, and it had danios that were breeding. Then I went to the pet store one day and I found these really cute little turtles. I put them in my tank and my crabs started disappearing. Going, what is going on?
Oh, turtles.
And yeah, all the crabs are gone. Turtles got bigger. Moved them on. Turtles love crustaceans.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, we need one more.
That's pretty good.
Come on up.
So I had a fire eel that I had grown from this big to about 4.5 feet. And it was a female, so I was really excited because she was going to get big. And I'd actually trained her with little taps and stuff to feed from the hand to get petted, and so she was like my baby. And one day I was doing a water change, and I didn't keep on the changes in Davis with the water, what they were adding into the water. And apparently they had just switched from just chlorine to chloramine, which I was not aware of. And so I did a water change, a really big one, and her skin starts slowing off.
Oh.
And she starts gasping and, you know, basically doing a death dance. So I start freaking out and I start doing more water changes, which of course just make it worse. And it wasn't until about 6 months later I was in the pet store where I heard another lady who had she was filling up her koi pond in the ground with just a water hose, and all of her fish had turned up dead. And that's how she found out that there were chloramines, because you know they don't evaporate, and with scaleless fish it's really not a good thing. So I lost her, and I haven't been able to get fire relay yet since, because I feel sad.
Aww.
Okay. So we've got 6 stories. Okay, just a round of applause. Okay. No, not yet, not yet. I want you to, we're gonna do, I'm gonna go to each person and you're gonna applaud. The loudest applause wins. That's how it works. So Doug's losing all his fish at the showfish. Okay, her
Smallmouth bass.
smallmouth bass. The discus killer back there.
Close.
And yours was the
crustaceans.
the crustaceans that all got at. And her fire eel. Did I miss anybody? It was only 5. I thought we had 6.
Make our president say one.
Yeah.
Okay, Bradley.
Bradley.
I know Bradley's killed lots.
Well, first of all, I've only been keeping fish for about a year, and so I dived into the deep end of the pool instantly. I already have over 11 tanks running in my garage, all 150s and 55s, pallet racks. It's all rich to it, so I just try to mimic it. So my buddy brought me like a colony, like a huge colony of like over 100 really shrimp, and I had an empty 100-gallon just sitting there, cycled, ready to go. I didn't really think anything of it, and I just dropped the shrimp right into the 100-gallon. That was all that was in there. But I didn't think about having AquaClear hang on the back filters. And so by the next morning, the filter had sucked up every single shrimp and chopped it up into like a shrimp soup. So yeah, I think I got like 5 survivors out of that. Wow. So now I have a new colony with sponge filters, and just, I guess my only lesson from that is don't hang off the back filters for
The strongest shrimp survive.
yeah. I would have rather fed them to my cichlids or something, or ate them myself, but that's my story.
So Emperor, who do you think won?
Well, who's got the best response? I mean,
It's hard to say.
I was gonna say
The big mouth bass and the discus.
the discus guy. The discus guy. You're the winner.